My name is Pam Roberts, and I do GIS work at Bayfield County, and I primarily worked on the interactive map, which we'll go over in a second here.
My name's, I'll try and talk about Carmen Novak. I'm also with Bayfield County, GIS technician. I worked on some of the mapping for the flood and windstorm events that we'll touch on. But yeah, I guess we'll just go from there.
So here we have a timeline of how things went with Bayfield County. So starting at the flood event, which y'all kind of know about now. We got some pictures here, and these are pictures from Bayfield County and Ashland County as well. The day after the flood event, I couldn't resist going out after work and checking out some of the damage. So, and these are photos that I took. Over here we got a couple from Highway 13 coming up into Ashland. As you can see, it's pretty crazy. And then over here we got Bayfield County at Highway 63. Up top there, I really like this one, how you can see how high the water got before it blew out with the tree line. You can see the soil, darker color. This is in Bayfield County at County Highway E, taken by a road crew. Another one on Highway 13. This is County Highway C near Highway 13. Another one by the road crew in Bayfield County. And here we have a video of a drone, I didn't take it, of High Bridge at Highway 13. Just an interesting aerial view of what happened.
No music, I guess.
No music this time.
Someone put music to it.
Yeah.
I would not be sitting on it. Yeah. And you said the train tracks when you were here were damaged too, right? Like there was a 10-foot gap.
Up in this corner here. Yeah, there's a good gap, and they had one of those, just railroad truck, a pickup truck with those wheels. I don't know what the proper term is. And they went over it, and we were all kind of looking at each other and thinking, okay, you're gonna try over that, but it didn't fall down or anything. It worked out. Sorry about them. We're getting closer.
Oh. Wait, how do I get back?
Escape. Yeah.
1 second.
Hit the home button.
Wait, 1 minute. Can you do it? Next.
There's that home.
We can start go through here. Just go right back.
Should have just let it play. But you said you just got that off of YouTube, right?
Yeah, that's true. All right, so now we got the fun. Next slide, sorry. So in building the interactive map, I first started by going to ArcMap and just starting to put points and areas that we knew were a blowout or washout, or we knew that the road was closed, and started adding that information in, and then eventually brought it into ArcGIS Online. And a lot of information was coming in. Scott, my boss, was at different meetings. We were gathering information. Phone calls were coming in. So I was working on, as I hear something right away, put it into the map. So if you want to click on that. This is the current map.
And you grabbed screenshots as it was updated, which
Yeah,
were kind
once
of
in a while I'd take a screenshot just to kind of have that documentation. And a splash screen that would come up at first to indicate the major things we want people to see and know. Red equals road closed, of course. Green, damaged but passable. As roads, most of those roads that are green were at one time closed and then became open. And it has all the functionality of any other web app where you can change the base map and measure tool, link to share, and so forth.
I guess we should have practiced like how to get back into the Prezi after. Sorry, 1 second. That's the last link, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So back to the photos. And you can see the screenshots there from the different dates of updates.
Mm-hmm.
Still being updated.
Yeah. All right, public use of the map. This graphic shows the first week starting on the Tuesday and ending on the Friday, how many views we had, and our most we had on the 14th was 16,000 views in just one day, which considering the size of our county was impressive to me. So it just showed the importance that people are using this map and we need to get this information out to people. So there's different ways we got the word out to people. The map, of course. We have the link in social media and on our website. The county flood page, that's where when everybody was getting together with the different departments, tourism, sheriff, and so forth, they would get information together, put it on that website, and even some of that information I was pulling from just a simple road closure list, and then put that into the interactive map in there for the Bayfield County information. And social media, your sheriff's department, I think he says, it looks like County Highway M east of Cable is having some flooding issues as well. It sure looks like it, so put that in the map as being closed. Working with Ashland County Emergency Management, a gentleman there was really great to work with. He would send me over here the big list of roads that are closed in Ashland County. And from there, I had to look at each of the roads, try to find out where the roads are, not as good as with Ashland County roads, and figure out where the start point of the road closure was in some cases and where it ends, and interpolate that onto the interactive map. So they had a lot. Ashland County is a little more than Bayfield County for road closures. And we just did Ashland and Bayfield counties for the interactive map. It would just be too much information, as Colleen knows, to try and bring so much information together. So I just worked on those 2 counties. Douglas County only had 2 roads closed as far as I knew. Iron County had the most. Picturesque Saxon Harbor there.
One of the reasons why we included Ashland is because we offer mutual aid, and it's important for our dispatch center to know all that information also. So this is kind of one location to go for that. We just made that decision. I called over to Ashland County and said, what are you doing? They said, nothing. What kind of mapping are they doing? And other than their lists from emergency management, they weren't really able to handle that, the mapping aspect of it.
And alternative road maps were created. The tourism department I was a little concerned that people who were vacationing up in Bayfield area and so forth, how do they get here? People are wondering, can we even get up into that area? So, Carmen?
Yeah, I actually worked on these maps, and I don't want anyone to look too closely because they're really bad. But Mary, our tourism director, came to us on like a Friday in a panic, like, no one can get up here. They think everything's closed. Everyone's canceling their hotel reservations, and it kind of perpetuates you hear that, northern Wisconsin is closed, and she was kind of in a panic about that, so we started throwing just some shape files together, getting it on a map and sharing it to get the word out that there are routes up here. So, and then it's important to highlight that a lot of the detour routes could only handle light traffic, so there's a lot of trucking and stuff that goes through US 2, and those reroutes are completely different. So just kind of like from a tourism standpoint, because Bayfield County, summer is like peak for tourism, so those couple weekends that it affected were kind of a big deal for some of the towns and businesses.
So working with Colleen in emergency management, we got talking. I was able to get from her all those photos and the story maps, which are great. So then I was able to populate my map with all that information. So that really helped make it more interesting, and people can really see where things are happening and get that visual. The issue we had, trying to figure out, okay, how do I get my data, this map, easily to you at the state? And I'm like, what am I missing? How is this working? Shapefile, I'm trying to find certain files and couldn't figure it out. So I just went in and figured out that eventually, when I add the information into ArcGIS Online, I did not select the proper keep original features, and I just went with the default without even thinking, generalized features for web display, and that just kind of made everything easy, and they had a certain file that I could share. So that was just one of the lessons learned in this process, as everything is just going so fast.
Yeah. I might be able to talk without the mic if everyone can hear me. So 10 days after the flood, on July 21st, a windstorm came through in the early morning. It was like 3 or 4 a.m. on the 21st. And that was kind of like, in addition to the flood, like the second big bad event that happened. I know it affected Bayfield County. There were like hurricane speed winds of up to 80 miles per hour. So a lot of trees were down. If you click through, there are some photos you can kind of zoom in on. This is a campground in Bayfield County in the National Forest. There were about 30 Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts camping there, and trees were falling down, like uprooted. That's one of the big damage areas. Everyone was okay, but they were really scared and probably won't camp there again. So just some photos of the damage. They did clear some of the forest roads, just cutting the trees and moving it aside, but a lot of them are still closed in Bayfield County you can't access them quite yet. And this next photo, I think, is from an aerial flight that the DNR maybe flew. And this is on the western side of Bayfield County. But you can see just the line of trees down that gray area in the middle. So kind of like a tornado, but it didn't quite do the cycle. It was more of a straight line wind effect. So just some photos. And this kind of summarizes, I tried to look up the wind speed on the Weather Channel, but I got that from an article. So that is, I believe, hurricane speed status winds. So that caused a lot more property damage on top of the flooding, road closures. So we threw together a quick web application as the points and coordinates came in with some photos from the DNR flight that was taking place right after the windstorm. So we're kind of concurrently managing the flood event and then the windstorm event and trying to keep it separate in a way, but yet get the information out there that the roads are closed. We won't click on this link because it's pretty simple with the points. So that's where they occurred that the windstorm damage was. So like I mentioned, many roads were closed in the National Forest, which is that center kind of up there. Pam added to the map a lot of red for road closure, you know, in the National Forest. And that Birch Grove campground I mentioned is within there. On the 21st, when the windstorm occurred, and then the 22nd of July, those were two of the hotter days in the summer. So the temperatures were kind of cut off, but you can see there was a high of 95 degrees and 98 degrees. So the temperature was pretty hot and it was very humid. So a lot of people had faced power outages and, you know, needed a spot to cool down. So they opened up cooling centers, and we made a quick map for that here at the bottom. There are about 6 cooling centers opened up throughout the county. You could also recharge your device and that type of thing. They had AC on. So that was another kind of side factor that needed planning. So in addition to the web maps that Pam primarily worked on, I made a lot of hard copy maps. The cell service and service availability throughout Bayfield County is not the best, so web maps are important for, you know, in the EOC meeting room and going out in the field. So, go to the next one. Now, switching back gears to the flood, because we're doing this kind of at the same time, and this is the DOT went out, collected coordinates with our highway department and sheriff's department, I believe, emailed them back to us, and it was nice that they provided the coordinates because you could just easily project it, and I didn't have to search down different road names. So this is an example of the flood damage, and I think this eventually tied in with the FEMA meetings that occurred. So hard copy maps were important too, paper maps. Scott attended several FEMA meetings, or meetings in general. We will be reimbursed for some overtime work and contract work for special projects. FEMA is only going to be reimbursing the flood, not the windstorm. And you can see the damage estimates. I don't believe the $25 million includes trail damage, but the DNR, that's only road, infrastructure, damage like that, but the DNR estimate includes more trails, parks type thing.
Yeah, I think the trail reimbursement's about $40,000 is kind of what I heard for Bayfield County anyway.
So that gives an idea. And then there's another photo of Highway 63? 13. Highway 13. So just in review, some of the issues we faced. A 40-minute drive from Ironwood, Michigan to Ashland, Michigan, or Ashland, Wisconsin. Takes about 30 minutes. This now is a 3-hour loop. Our highway department ran out of road closed signs, and I think someone came to our land records office and was like, can you print off a large map that we can laminate to put that the road is closed? So they must have requested road signs from other highway departments or something. We just ran out of them at some point. In the flood event, we had a sheriff deputy that got swept away in the flash flood waters, and he's okay, but he had to be like airlifted to Duluth Hospital and rescued. It was a big deal. So that on top of responding to everything else, they had to like save one of their own deputies. He's okay. As Colleen mentioned, there was also a woman who drove off one of the washout areas and into the culvert and ditch. So stuff like that did happen.
That was kind of one of the biggest issues also is a lot of people were just driving around the road closure signs and going around. You know, the sheriff's department was pretty concerned about that.
Yeah, so we learned a lot as we went, managed 2 different events that don't hopefully happen too often with the flood and the windstorm. And yeah, learned a lot along the way, made a lot of maps, tried to get the word out there the best we could. I think that's about all.
So currently, with the map, this is how it stands. Or last update I got from the Forest Service, we still have a few roads that are closed. That's due to the windstorm up at the top part there, and also in the Forest Service mark. Down in here, we still have, from the flooding event, a number of roads closed. There's just a few town or roads that are still closed. I think all the county roads are pretty much open. But obviously there are still some effects. It might be better, or you might need some updates. But other than that, it's fairly up to date. We definitely don't get as many hits on the web map as we did before, but try to keep it somewhat updated. Just a couple of days ago, State Highway 13 opened, so that was the big news for up there. That was, of course, the main road that we were really looking to get open, so that's good news.
Yeah, and that's about it. Any questions we can answer, but we could wait till the end for questions.